Hey everyone, this is Malkazev returning with another installment to the Final Fantasy XIV story playthrough. Last we played this patch 6.1. We got through Alzadal's Legacy, which was the new dungeon for this patch. Essentially a hidden treasure trove at the bottom of the ocean. We defeated it, and the leader of Razatan, Ritra, sent his simulacrum, as he pronounces it, Rarshan, to talk to us and say, hey, don't open this thing. And he showed us why, and it essentially has essentially a pinpoint of a hole to the void, a natural void gate, if you will. So we talked to them, found out that, hey, this happened a long time ago. He went there to try to find his sister. It was not successful. He kind of almost closed it up. Didn't close it up entirely, so now Y'shtola is searching for the long-lost documents that they sent to Charleon, excuse me. Because, you know, they send everything to Charleon for knowledge. So that we can try to figure out how to do it ourselves. Get to the other reflections of the shard. So, we're going to go ahead and continue with the main story here with the quest restricted reading. Let us begin. Accept. You'll be heading directly to the archives from here, I presume? You presume correctly. Then you want to speak with the index page when you arrive. It's been instructed to grant you access to the restricted section. Excellent. Once again, we thank you for all your help. Oh, it was my pleasure, believe me. May you find the knowledge you seek. Tara Fisher? Shall we? There's one. Yeah. Let's walk. Pew pew pew. Oh, Y'shtola, book it. I think there's only 2 or 3 quests left in this patch, and that's the currently as much story as there is, so maybe we'll be able to finish it up tonight. Then back to your regularly scheduled leveling of my other classes and jobs. Boo. Yeah. So first things first, let's talk to her about this. To think the set of instructions I laughingly imagined may actually exist, but yalms away from where you found me napping. Excuse me. To think the set of instructions I laughingly imagined may actually exist. There we go. It was just, didn't know how she wanted to word it. If I had known of Alzadal III's exploits sooner, I could well have saved myself days of research. Even a children's book might have pointed me in the right direction. To achieve the impossible, one must needs be flexible of mind and look beyond conventional wisdom. A lesson I had already learned, but clearly not taken to heart. Anything else? Nope. Blah blah blah. Okay. Now we need to find index page. This guy. This robot. Archon Y'shtola and guests identified. You wish to proceed into the restricted archives? Yep. Follow me if you would. Watch your step, and please note that the use of naked flames is discouraged. Excuse me. Is it a dungeon? It'd be funny. What kind of bookshelves are those? I mean, it's cool and all, but seems impractical. Voice acting?
If House Demia's notes are to be found anywhere, it will be here. Let us begin.
Why didn't we invite Graha? He loves this place. Alright. Let's start on the lower floor. Let's use one spot. On an untitled journal. Today, in a world not my own, I met the most beautiful void-born creature. She was so unlike her ravenous brethren, eyes blazing not with hunger, but trembling, like a candle's flame threatening to flicker out at any moment. I wonder if she is even the proper word. Such distinctions seem inconsequential, insignificant even. All that matters is the love I felt for this exquisite, transcendent being. If you are tempted to read more, this ought to seem the volume you are seeking. Like a romance novel. Weighty tome. In the year 1564, the Sixth Alpha Astral Era, the Amalda summoned Ifrit to their patron god. Accounts describe the being as a gigantic, lizard-like being, potent command of fire-aspected magics. We consider that primal summoning is an act fueled by faith and prayer. It is unsurprising, if not expected, that the resulting deiform entity should manifest the appearance and powers with which it is attributed by its worshippers. What then might emerge from the ether should one who believes in an almighty omniscience attempt the same ritual? Will the scholar himself grace us with his presence? Some other embodiment of divine sagacity? Would this man-made god truly be all-knowing? And if it were, whence would such knowledge arise? I myself have many questions concerning the nature of the ancient world. With no spell to transport me back to the days of old, could I instead summon a being possessed of encyclopedic wisdom of every age? Yet with no means to verify its pronouncements, how could one be certain if they were true? Though your mind spins with the possibilities discussed therein, this does not seem to be the volume you are seeking. Leather-bound log. You know how many beavers in here. The following pages detail an advanced method for manipulating rift-spanning apertures as devised by Nuhashan, the ninth patriarch of House Daimir. We present these research notes to the faculty of Charlene's Studium as both a token of our friendship and an expression of our boundless admiration. You appear to have located the forbidden volume you seek. Still, we'll need to make the final confirmation. It only took me 3 tries. Have something you'd like to show me, do you? My apologies, I flipped open but a single book and was completely absorbed by the contents. Well done, Malkazar. I think you may have found our prize.
Yes, the ether signature is unmistakable. I've felt the traces of House Daimir's resonance many times at the Great Work. Time to see what all the fuss was about.
Yes, let's. I'm curious myself. Wonder if this leads directly into the next expansion, or maybe it's just a side jaunt. Hey, Thomas.
Among the ranks of the Void Sent, there exist entities with the power to call forth their brethren from beyond. The species known as Atomos, however, is uniquely prodigious in this regard. From its distended maw, it can expel an endless procession of void-born creatures, a talent which sorely tested the Radiant Host in its battles against these abominations. Surmising that the entity itself was acting as a void gate, we endeavored to capture a small specimen and subsequently examine its physiological structure. Our findings reveal that the Atomos had absorbed a planar fissure into its own flesh, which it could expand at will into a functioning gate. Upon further analysis, we identified an ethereal wave pattern emitted during this process. A pattern we were able to emulate by passing crystal-stored ether through a specially designed prism. We proceeded to embed said prism into an arcane simulacrum, thus completing what we have dubbed our artificial atomos.
Interesting. So do we have to find the crystal? Do we have to make one? Varshan.
How could I have been so blind to the possibilities? This species, not to mention its ability to summon void scent, has been discussed among academics for years now. Just before the advent of the 7th Umbral Calamity, we received reports of Atomos sightings from every corner of Eorzea. Surely you've at least heard the tales.
Nope. Enlighten me. All? He said yes.
And still, House Daemir went and built a mock Atomos of their very own. I'm not surprised the Archons consigned their work to a restricted archive. It was no easy task, but at last we've unearthed the volume we've been searching for.
Take your notes and let's go. Phone out, take pictures.
I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to stay longer. See what other forbidden titles might be lurking on these shelves.
Take them all.
Ah, but that would be abusing the very special privilege we've been granted now, wouldn't it? Better not.
Get the tissues. Are you still... As much as I would love to start crafting the Atomos, I'm afraid this is far outside my field of expertise. Fortunately, we know a Hanish alchemist who would be delighted to involve herself in our House Daemir project. Our business here is concluded for the moment. Please pass on our regards to the forum. Your message will be conveyed. If you wish to indulge in more forbidden literature, I will be here. Patron mode disabled. Security mode engaged. If anyone can help us, Nidana can. I say we return to Thavner and look for her, the great work. Assist. At least there's a direct teleport this time, as opposed to having to fly around. Even though Thavner is beautiful. What kind of mount is that? I think it's just a regular chocobo, but with barding. Probably what it is. Your Stola tells me you are pursuing a most fascinating study, and that you want me to be a part of it. Let's get some nods in. Heck yeah. I have no doubt you will be interested. This research log should speak for itself. Will it now? By the sisters, this is the mark of House Daemir. I never even knew such a work existed. You should. It was sequestered in the Numenon's restricted archives, after all. Was, but that means every word within is forbidden knowledge. A forbidden tome filled with forbidden research, and you put it right in my unsuspecting hand? I can hardly wait to read it. So excited. Yeah, let's break the laws of reality. To think that Daemir were developing such marvelous techniques so long ago. How many innovations have been lost over the centuries, I wonder? Now that you've glanced over the notes, what say you to helping us build a new mock Atomos? I'd say yes, 1,000 times yes. Work on a Daemir project that had even The redoubtable scholars of Charlene trembling in their sandals? No alchemist of the great work could resist. You are a woman after my own heart. Oh, I suppose I should ask, what do you mean to do with this big mouth simulacrum once we built it? Well, there's a secret void gate, and it's sealed in the ruins at the bottom of the bounty. Today is a day of revelations, and if the purpose of our man-made Atomos is to expand this hidden portal, then I will need to see it for myself, I think. Manipulating rift-spanning apertures is not the sort of thing you want to attempt without first taking into account every single factor. And by all means, accompany us to the vault. I plan to lead us back there shortly, once we finish gathering the components I require. Charlene's markets provided the raw aquamarine and pure water crystals, but I might need help obtaining a small quantity of astrally infused water. For such a liquid, you need go no further than the font of Maya. The ascetics of old once favored the place for their meditations. The water which pools there now is known to enliven the flow of ether. That sounds perfect. If you'd be so kind as to fill a flask at the pool, I will petition Reacher to join us. The idea I have in mind won't amount to much without his authority to command the Void Gate. That would be about it then. We meet back here anon. Anon. Forsooth. I'm just gonna fly there. I was thinking it'd be faster to teleport, but I'll just fly. Real quick, I'm gonna see if there's any like viewpoints over here. Yep, there's one. See it? Knew it. Do it while I'm mounted? I thought. There we go. Perfect. Alright, now let's get to back to it. Yeah, this is where I fought some of the blasphemies over by this thing. Maybe there's another sightseeing log. If there is, it's not in the obvious spots. Alright, let's just get back to it. Bum, bum, bum. There, okay. Astrally dense pocket. How very convenient. Alright, cool. Well, maybe I'll check over on top of this. Usually on buildings is where these things are located. See any there? Fine. See if there's one on top of these. Obvious. Okay. Finished with my detour. Doesn't mean that there aren't any there. I just did the obvious one. Do you have the flask for me? Hey, Estinian's here. Yes, this should suffice. Thank you, Malgazer. I really don't need any of these, so I'll take... Look who I came across. Estinian seemed in need of diversion, and we, in turn, may have need of his lance. Right then, now that our little party is assembled, let us make our way to the ruins. Will we have need of Matsia's boat again? Not this time. Once Yishtol informed me of our destination, I arranged for a vessel to be made ready at Akiali. Your Excellency's ever the gracious toast. Shall we? Sean's with us. I'm like, who? What? Who did what? I guess I'm just flying everywhere. That's fine. I'll try not to move the camera around too much so we can just enjoy the view. But if I see a sightseeing log or viewpoint, I'm going for it. Yeah. Just checking to see if there weren't any on the tops of those buildings. Ship is yours to command. Our thanks. We set sail at once. Oh, this is so exciting. Azadal's legacy. See the truth of the legend with my own eyes. All aboard for the treasure vault.
The ruins alone were impressive enough, but I never dreamed such a treasure lay hidden in the depths of the bounty.
Sorry. There we go.
It may have been helpful to know this device existed, Your Excellency.
My apologies. The gate was a secret I shared with none but my closest advisors. I feared for what might happen should those with ill intentions learn of its existence.
What is it you're doing now?
There's something I wish to verify. The NOAA reports claim that a short stint into the void carries little risk of etheric imbalance. Should one suffer an injury, however, or if one's expedition drags on longer than intended, that risk becomes significantly greater. Graha theorized that a warding scale would confer protection from the void's corrupting influence. But I would prefer to test that hypothesis before we set foot in the 13th ourselves.
So, this is an experiment of sorts.
Yes, an experiment. Tell me, how would you go about testing the efficacy of the warding scale?
Let's step through. Might as well go myself.
And how would you do that? The gate is still too small for any of us to pass through.
Estinian is correct, which is why I've elected to send a familiar in our stead. Now, a lowly imp can navigate a fissure, no matter how narrow. Which means an arcane entity of similar stature should be able to manage the same. I hadn't wanted it to come to this. But no other familiars will do, I'm afraid.
Oh, what's she gonna summon? Exactly.
I mislike the sound of that. What manner of fiend does she mean to summon?
We're going to fight it.
From ocean rise and cloudbank form, from mountain spring and rainfall storm, from river flow and life be born. Water, water, froth and fire!
Oh, I'm like, it didn't work for a second.
Ready your arms. I fear she's been possessed.
Oh, come now. That was adorable.
He's embarrassed.
Though not my first choice. These familiars I conceived of as a child have the best chance of fitting through the gate. I only wish my younger self had considered a more dignified ending to the creation ritual.
Could have made up another one. Had all that time.
In any case, these two should serve as well. This one will bear a warding scale. And when they return from the 13th, we can observe how the talisman, or absence thereof, has affected the progress of the Void's corruption. If I could impose upon you to open the gate. Your Excellency?
Ah, yes, of course.
We should also be wary of void scent slipping through while we conduct our experiment. Estinian, you are to keep Nadana safe from harm.
As you say.
And what's Nadana doing here now?
You had best be on your guard as well.
Froth and foam.
Oh, are you volunteering to join the Nixies? I could shrink you down, you know.
Heck yeah, let's do it.
Let us begin, shall we? Nixies, into the void.
How will they know to come back? We have to fight stuff? Probably. Why couldn't they just like go straight into the next cinematic? I had to click on something. Seems inefficient. I guess they didn't want it to be a full movie. Data. Yeah.
I think we've waited long enough. Nixies, return to my side.
Oh yeah, one of them was definitely corrupted. You can see it.
Thank you, little one. You did well.
The poor thing. Its essence has been irrevocably warped.
We're out of time. I must reseal the void gate.
They're coming through!
In the name of Alzadal III, I bar this door unto the void.
I have to use magic words.
Well, that was a sharp lesson in the dangers of void gates.
And what of our experiment? I'd say the results speak for themselves.
The unprotected Nixie has suffered extensive etheric corruption. As Nidana observed, it's well on its way to becoming a void scent. The one merged with the talisman, however, appears unaffected. I sense no changes to its equilibrium.
Good. Seems we can move on.
Rest now, little ones.
Graha's theory was correct then.
So it would seem. But while our second familiar was untouched by void energies, the talisman itself shows signs of degradation. It was, of course, originally designed to shield the soul from primal tempering. It stands to reason that etheric corruption of a different sort would affect it differently. We may need to modify the warding scale's design to account for the 13th's uniquely unstable ether.
You've said much of the Void's instability, but my imagination fails me. What manner of place is this broken world?
Want to see it? Come with me to a raid.
My apologies. I forget that not all of us spend our days sequestered in dusty archives. The 13th is a reflection of the source that was drowned in a flood of darkness. In Emmett Selk's own words, this tragedy was a result of the Ascians' attempts to force a rejoining. They erred in their haste, and made of that world a useless void. And what of your own experience? Will you tell us of what you observed during Noah's expedition?
Explain, 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 explain.
I can picture it now. The sunless, Stygian expanse, infested with legions of ether-starved monstrosities. A void in every sense of the word.
What you have described in such lurid detail is exactly why I hesitate to encourage you.
Worry not, great Vritra. Our journey into the 13th is but the first leg of a longer voyage. A voyage that shall lead us to other reflections, to new mysteries and discoveries. And I mean to be there every step of the way. But first I must focus on refining the warding talisman.
Then I can begin work on constructing an artificial Atomos. Or I could if I had the relevant manuals to hand. Might I be so bold as to request access to the Satrap's family archives?
You gonna say no?
Your Excellency?
Oh, yes. That can be arranged. I will speak to my officials upon our return.
We will see you back in the city then.
He doesn't look pleased. Just scared. Astini noticed it too. I think this is the last of the new patch. Once Nadana succeeds in replicating the mock Atomos, the door into the 13th will be ours to open. Will you be crossing the threshold alongside us? I realize this is more of my endeavor than yours, excuse me. To be honest, I have no interest in visiting the void myself. But we discuss this later. There is something I must do first. Check out the treasure. Why does everyone insist on being so secretive? I at least had good reason for not wanting to explain my Nixie ritual. Ahem. Shall we proceed with other preparations then? As we saw, the warding scale can be effective at protecting the barrier from other sources of etheric corruption. Nevertheless, the talisman's durability will need to be improved if it is to withstand the void's influence for a prolonged length of time. And I think that is a problem we can address without involving the brilliant but busy alchemist who created it. Who do we know who excels at this kind of a structural augmentation? Garland. An excellent suggestion. As I recall, Sid himself is no stranger to the void and its volatile energies. With his experienced hand at the helm, I have every confidence that the Ironworks can strengthen the warding scale. Come, let us visit their operation in Rvalger's Reach, and commission their best and brightest. I guess that makes sense. You haven't really run into them since Stormblood. Hey, look at that, teleported. So that means they were probably still here. This is where they last were when they were looking into Omega, which I still haven't done the raid for, by the way. I haven't done a lot of the raids. Biggest daddy. Okay. Algazar, what brings you to the Ironworks? We have a commission for you and your president, actually, assuming he's available. Master said, certainly. I'll see if he has a moment free. Watch them start forcing me to do raids now. Now you have to do Omega in order to talk to this guy. A pleasure as always. I hear you have a job for us? Heading into the void to find a lost dragon. That sounds almost pedestrian compared to your last adventure. Honestly, I don't know if you could say anything that would surprise me after Medion and that bloody mess. Alright, let's take a look at this talisman of yours. You said there were signs of degradation? But your Strolla had it. It seems some manner of corrosion has set in around a scratch on its surface, much as the void's corruption seeped into Nero through his wounds. In which case, our best bet may be to simply prevent the scale from being damaged in the first place. How might we achieve that? We have a coating agent for strengthening trinkets and the like, but I'd be wary of applying any compound which might upset the scale's delicate alchemical balance. Far safer to dress it in armor. We'll construct a protective casing, one utilizing metal alloys with high ethereal conductivity, so as not to impede the talisman's primary function. Suit of armor, as you said. Nero has compiled data on the 13th, so I'll have him pitch in with a design just to be sure. If only it weren't such an ordeal to convince him to follow our safety protocols. In any case, we may need some time to untangle the particulars. Understandable. We know how busy your schedule is, and the final result will doubtless be worth the wait. The hard part will be ducking Jessie and her constant barrage of demands while we sneak about doing the fun stuff. We'll see what we can do. Imagine being in a job so boring that every now and then you're like, let's do something dangerous just for fun. I think we could leave the rest in Sid's capable hands. Let's return to the great work and see how Nadana's getting on with the mock Atomos. You can teleport me again? That would be nice. Ha! I guess not. Fine, I'll do it myself.
Hey, Stola. The adjustments are going well, I hope?
'Tis a lengthy process, but the end is in sight, yes.
That's wonderful news. I myself had some good fortune searching through the Satrap's private records. What I found was a transaction log dated around the same period as when Al-Jadal's legacy was built. It included a purchase list of highly exclusive alchemical components, and I knew I'd discovered the key to making the artificial Atomos. I then visited the High Crucible to commission the materials. After I'd explained my requirements, I was beset by volunteers insisting I allow them to help with the entire project.
The usual reaction to someone forcing open a void gate is to run for the hills. Harnish academics certainly are a different breed.
The alchemists of old were cut from a similar cloth. The unknown held no fear for them. Indeed, they were ever eager to seek new knowledge, regardless of the danger.
And were you not also fearless? Heedless even, in your determination?
My sire entered his dormancy before I was hatched. And so it was Ashdaya who kept my eggs safe and warm. It created a bond between us. Even long after I learned to fend for myself, I rarely strayed from her side. She was my guardian, my sister, my dear companion. And not a single day passes that I do not mourn her absence. No matter how deep the darkness, I would not surrender my search. I promised myself the time would come when we would once more take to the skies together. But I am satrap now.
The Radiant Host is here to serve, Your Excellency.
Dean, what is this about?
Celestinian told us of your predicament. For centuries you have protected Rads at Han, never showing your true self, hiding behind a curtain and living only in service to the people. Your dedication meant more to us than your deceit, and so did we accept you as our rightful ruler. After all that you have sacrificed for this nation, did you imagine we would begrudge you your heart's desire? We survived the final days. We are a strong and proud people. We, the Radiant Host, will keep Thavnair safe in your absence.
I am grateful for your loyalty and for your encouragement. And yet...
Now you listen to me, Varshan. You are wearing that face, after all. As I have told you before, you are a little brother to us all. And if you are family, then so too is your sister. We are there for you if you need us. But do not ask us to sit by and watch while you abandon a sibling you have ached to rescue for millennia.
Everybody's here.
We will succeed in opening the way. It is only a matter of time. All you need do is prepare to step through to the other side.
Your Excellency, I wanted to thank you for building the orphanage. It means so much that my sister and I will have a place to be together, safe and happy. And I hope that you and your sister can be together again too.
And we're telling little kids about everything. Everybody knows this long-kept secret. Protect them well. Must take. Is he gonna tear up?
Guard and protect them well. Such were the words I once said to you. And here I stand, failing to live up to them. If my heart is torn, I am fit to protect neither Ajdaya nor Radzatan.
Yep. As a result, I now abdicate. What?
My people, I have come to a decision. Vashan will depart Thavnair for a time. My dragon self will remain in the palace, but only to conduct the satrap's most essential duties. While I am focused on controlling this vessel, there may be matters that escape my attention. I rely on you, my trusted friends, to watch over one another until I return.
Take care and fair fortune, little brother. Many tears would be shed should you come to harm.
I would not dare make you cry.
Alright, Ishtola, what do you have for me? You surprised me, Estinian. For a lone wolf, you've shown an unusual degree of, shall we say, involvement in helping him reach this conclusion. It was for the greater good. The worm's thundering sighs were keeping its citizens awake at night, and had travelers believing the place racked by some unnatural storm. Whatever, Estonian. What of your own answer, then? You seem disinclined to venture into the void. When I was one with Nidhogg, his vengeful thoughts were my thoughts. Endless rage, my rage. And the soul-chilling grief he nursed for Ratatosker's death. I would not wish such agony upon a foe, let alone a friend and ally. If there is a chance we can spare or reach her that pain, then I will follow you. Usual crew we have here. Any other former signs you call on? Just the four of us? Unusual crew. Indeed, but perfect for our purpose, I should think. I'd rather not bother the Scions with aught less than a dire threat to this star. Now, on to the specifics. Unlike the first, where the flood of light was halted before its devastation was complete, the 13th has been utterly subsumed by darkness. My plan, as such, is to explore the void in stages, withdrawing to safety after each brief foray. It would be more convenient had we some manner of base camp near to the gate itself. One of the palace chambers should serve. Come, let us reconvene outside Megaduda. Later, Nadana. Get to hang out for 10 seconds. There we go. Dang. And so we will require suitable accommodations. Might we make something available for our guests? All the chambers are presently hosting the great mounds of treasure we carried out of the vault. Once the Foundation's activities begin in earnest, however, we could redistribute the trove and make a room or two ready for habitation. Good. Please inform me when you've completed the arrangements. As you heard, we will have you settled in Megaduda in due time. As ever, you are most gracious, Your Excellency. You risk yourselves to aid me in my search for Ajdaya. Providing comfortable quarters is the least I can do. I only wish we knew more about our destination. The gods only know how long our explorations might possibly take, or what our chances of success might possibly be. Succeed or fail, I am grateful to you for convincing me to make the attempt. On that note, I will return to the great work and lend what help I can to Nadana. If you've preparations to make, ere we venture into the 13th time. All I need is my armor and my lance. Perhaps I'll train with the Radiant Host to pass the time before we depart. You know what this means to me, Malchazar, but my purpose need not consume you as well. We're headed to another world. Find what joy you can in the experience, for you are a traveler, an adventurer at heart, this I know. Let's see what we... I don't know which one's the best, because I'm not going to do like any rating or anything, so... Meanwhile, in the 13th. Chaos. I guess. Dinos. That's what it looks like to me. Hands on his face. That's weird. Yep. Maybe? Maybe not.
Unless I am returned. To this world, bereft of saviors.
Let paths unwalked, adventurers spur, pulses quicken, spirits stir. Come with a new title? Oh yeah, Newfound Adventurer. I have to save it. Well, that happened to be just about an hour. Now we need to wait for more story. With the rate they're popping it out now, it's going to be another 3 months before more story comes out. Maybe sooner, hopefully, but we'll see. But I'll go ahead and end the recording here. Thanks everyone for watching.